Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. This is another glorious Thursday. And on Thursday, you know what that means. The Xbox Factor podcast is live with all of the best and most positive Xbox news you could find on these YouTube streets. Now, unfortunately, my regular co host, the Welsh Gamer, unfortunately had to step aside today because his missus is a bit under the weather with a really, really bad migraine, and he has to watch his little guy, and he will be returning next week in his regular place. But saving the show today is someone who has been on this show before, which he saved it then, almost like a superhero, if you will. And, he does frequent many of the chats. He does frequent many of the shows that we all love and listen to. Please welcome, saving the day once again, Dreadpool. Welcome, my brother.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I do what I can, and I'm glad I could help out.
Well, I mean, listen, again, this is the Xbox Factor podcast. We know that you're a big Xbox fan, so you actually, thanks to Aiden Williams on Twitter. If you're not following that kid, get out there and follow him. He was notified. That's how Dreadpool found out about this. He looked on Twitter. He had just gotten
Yes.
home. And boom, Aiden Williams sent him a message saying, "Hey, Boom needs help," and you of course answered the Boom signal. But you know what? I have to say a couple of things. I've been getting a lot of DMs from a lot of folks in the community, which is great. And a lot of people have been asking whether or not I was able to get into Xbox Fan Fest. Now, yesterday, Chris, who is handling that on Twitter, sent out the third round of emails. Unfortunately, I did not get picked so far. So as it stands, I will not be attending FanFest, and though I am heartbroken and devastated, there's still a chance. They're saying down the line there may be other ways to get in. So I'm going to keep the hoping, if you will. But I have to put the spotlight on a particular community member. And if you've seen him in the chat, he's donated through Super Chat numerous times. Seems like a gentleman. The Gotham guy was nice enough to have offered me his +1. And I saw the message too late and I missed it by an hour. But the mere fact that he offered such an incredible gift for me was just always going to be heartfelt and remembered, even though, I didn't get a chance to actually take it because I missed the message. I'm hoping to actually meet him in person in LA in a couple of weeks. It's really interesting to know that E3 is only 35 days away, and I'll be leaving for LA on the 7th and returning back to New York on the 14th. So I'm really excited about that. And speaking of E3, I thought that we would open this show with a leaked list of what is supposed to be Microsoft's E3. Now, other shows may have spoken about this, but the Xbox Factor has not. So I'm going to read you the list that I found on Twitter. I don't recall who posted this, and if it's somebody that watches the show, I apologize. It's been one heavy week with writing, so I did not actually write down where I found this, but it is a leaked list. So let's, Dreadpool, I'm gonna read the list, and I'm gonna get your opinion on it, and I don't want to get the chat's opinion on it because this list is pretty stout. So they apparently they're going to open up the show with Gears 5 gameplay. And that's amazing, right? We're all looking forward to Gears 5. Then they're going to follow that with Gears Tactics, a gameplay trailer. That, of course, I cannot wait to get my hands on. I'm hoping that at some point they do offer controller support. The keyboard and mouse thing, if I have to play it like that, I will play it, only if I'm forced to. They're going to follow that with Playdead's new IP. And they obviously made two fantastic games, both for the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. I'm really interested to see what that company's been up to. Then they're going to follow that with Ori and the Will of the Wisps gameplay trailer, which I think that game is going to be amazing. The artwork, the hand-drawn artwork is just nothing short of a masterpiece. So I'm looking forward to that. Then they're going to show Battletoads gameplay trailer. That's supposed to release in holiday of 2019. I'm a big Battletoads fan, and if they do it like I'm expecting they would do it, it's going to be a lot of fun, especially multiplayer. Then they're going to have a Borderlands 3 gameplay trailer, which that's they have the marketing for that, and that's a big deal. And then the list says Brink gameplay trailer. Now, if you remember, Brink was like a first-person shooter, and it didn't really do so well. So I don't know where Brink is coming from unless they're rebooting the franchise. Now, this is where it gets interesting. According to this list, they're going to then talk about and show Dino Crisis gameplay, which is something we've heard Capcom was possibly rebooting. I don't have any confirmation in that, but a new Dino Crisis, I think the world needs it. Then they were going to show Jedi Fallen Order gameplay, which they have the marketing rights to that, and this is great because this is what Microsoft needs to do. Those marketing right deals are important. Then something I found extremely interesting. It's called Fable Albion Collection. And I believe, from what I understand, is that this is a remaster of Fable 1, 2, and 3. For the I'm assuming it's a remaster because we have the other ones in backwards compatibility. So that would be interesting if they actually went in and cleaned it up and they made it look fantastic. I would be down with that. And then they're going to follow that supposedly with a Fable reboot teaser trailer. And that is incredible. Then they were going to follow that with Forza Horizon 4 DLC, which is going to launch in the holiday. Some Sea of Thieves DLC that was also going to launch in the holiday. They were going to have some exclusive The Outer Worlds gameplay. And according to this list, it's going to be in Xbox Game Pass in holiday 2019, which is great. And then new studio acquisitions. I'm assuming when Phil Spencer is going to walk out on stage like a boss and basically drop the hammer down on anywhere between 3 and 4 new studios. We have a story. I'm not going to talk about the what studio has been rumored. That's going to be the next story, so I'll get into that in the detail. But 4 new studios, 3 to 4 new studios is what we're hearing. That's a big deal. Then they were going to follow that with Bleeding Edge gameplay. It was going to be a trailer, and that also was going to be an Xbox Game Pass. And apparently, according to the list, a new Rare IP teaser trailer. And we know that Rare has, in fact, been working on something outside of Sea of Thieves, and that sounds dope to me. Then they were going to follow that with Dead Rising 5 gameplay trailer, which is supposed to be a timed exclusive once again, because obviously Capcom and Microsoft do work well together. And then they were going to follow that with a ReCore 2 trailer. And I got to be honest with you. Say what you want about ReCore. I really enjoyed it. It was gorgeous to look at. I thought Jewel was a fantastic female lead. I enjoyed the robots. I love the aesthetics of the the deserts that you were in. And then we're going to follow it up with Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay. Now, we know that they were going to be there. They've already said it. CD Projekt Red, that they were going to be there in big fashion. And to be up on the Microsoft stage means that they probably have the marketing rights for another big AAA title. So that's big. And then they were going to follow that with Age of Empires 4 gameplay, and that's supposed to be an Xbox Game Pass in 2020. Then the list continues, and this is where it gets, for me anywhere, the last two spots get really interesting. Apparently, we're going to see new Splinter Cell reboot trailer. And I've been calling this, and I've been wrong for 3 years now, or 2 years. This will be the third year if I'm wrong again, about calling Splinter Cell to the table, or to the podium, if you will. I think the world is ready for a new Sam Fisher game. I'm certainly ready. And then they were going to close out the show with the Halo Infinite trailer. And I'm assuming we were going to get some sort of a gameplay, maybe even a CG kind of movie. Dreadpool, this list that was leaked. Look, let me just say this. If by some chance that this is a true list. Now, and it's probably not, folks. You know, we got to take these things with a grain of salt, but this is a talk show, and that's what we do, right? We come on, we try to keep you guys entertained, we try to keep things positive, we try to get you excited for the brand. So understand that this list could be completely fake, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that was talked about seemed like it would fit. So, Dreadpool, if you were, being an Xbox fan, if Microsoft came out on, if Phil Spencer comes out on stage and shows this, and then he closes out with Halo Infinite, and then what are your takes on this? How would you consider this a huge win for Team Microsoft with these kind of announcements?
You see, this is a huge list. A lot of the list is what we expect to have. This is what we want to have. Um, it's unbelievable. You look at everything that they have coming out. Um, you want this. We want this. You got a Gears Tactics for X and Windows 10. I mean, come on now. Who doesn't want that? You know what I mean? Everybody's been asking for it. They said, oh, it's Windows 10 only. We want this. We want it on the X. We want to play this. We want to play a lot of these games. A lot of the IPs that are coming out. I mean, this is a fantasy list. If it's fake, I mean, it's a good list. I mean, any one of us could have said, hey, what fantasy games do you want to put on here? And this list is it. Now being real, I mean, think about it. You gotta, if you're Microsoft and you're saying, hey, I want to bring out the bomb here, and we're gonna throw this Hail Mary, and we're gonna do this. We're not gonna play around. We're not gonna skimp out. Why not? You're gonna write up a list. You're gonna say, hey, this is what we want to bring in. This is what we want to do, and then they have to find the time and properly time everything that they're going to show, because everything has a time and a place. And if
Yep.
you show something too soon, it's not gonna it's not gonna bring you into the next one. So everything's got to be properly set. Granted, some of these things, these games may back out too. So you got to have enough that if you do have somebody back out, let's say Dino Crisis, that's something that we've been asking for. We don't
Yes.
want just a remake. We want a retelling of the story, just like they did Resident Evil 2.
Yep.
It was from the ground up, rebuild, remake, and new, redo the story and the license properly. Not just, hey, let's slap it all together and throw some high res graphics on it. We're good to go. Well, what if they're not ready? Something's didn't plan out. They got to pull it out. That's fine. But yet again, you got to have all that set up. The list is huge. I'm still looking at it going, this is unbelievable. I mean, we all want Jedi Fallen Order. Fable, for me, is a must. And for the collection, I kind of, I mean, they just made it all backwards compatible with the X enhancements. So that's kind of suspect to me. But I would put it past them. I mean, why not have a 4K everything for the original Fable series? Now it's a collection. Does it
Yeah.
have to be the first three? What about the Kinect version? Can we redo that to be controller only? Or if you still have a Kinect like myself, so you still use a Kinect 2.0? I mean, there's a lot of games that would be great to be able to bring back that not everybody wanted to play. Not everybody wanted to play a Kinect version. And the reboot, I'm all down for it. I'm down for that. Everything else is great to me. All the new IPs. What they need to do is definitely work on bringing new IPs to us, but they also need to go back in their IPs and bring them out and push them. Halo Infinite. I mean,
Well, I
that's the
expect we're
granddaddy
gonna
right
see
there.
that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the granddaddy. We're gonna see that. We have to see that. Recore 2. I know a lot of people have said, "Oh, we've been asking for it." I haven't really seen that many people asking for it. They've been asking for, a new IP, but not Recore. And I'm like, why not? I mean, they went back in, they updated it for free. They're actually putting investment in there. So it is a possibility, but I just don't see certain games getting that push that they probably should or deserve. And then at the very end, you got Scarlett teaser.
Yeah.
I'm all about that because to me, that Scarlett teaser to me also includes Cloud. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be
uh,
surprised if they're gonna if Phil Spencer gets on there and does start talking about the cloud. And yes, you know, they're gonna have to either they close the show or somewhere in the middle. They're gonna have to
mhm,
try and hold it up to talk about the two consoles in Lockhart and of course Anaconda. And the more you know, obviously you know they're not releasing till fall of 2020, so they are gonna have another E3 in front of them. So I'm sure that we're not going to get price. We're not going to get release date. It's just there's no way. Not this far out. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a, you know, if you recall the monster video that was circulating that they showed at E3 about all the different developers saying, hey, listen, what they have here is something special. And it turned out to be that the Xbox One X was, in fact, very special and is the power king right now. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we get another video like that. Maybe some other developers. Maybe they'll add some, you know, some Japanese developers in there talking about this, you know, the specs of the console. That would be, you know, an
mhm.
open door for, you know, Japanese support. But real quick before I continue, I have to thank two people. First of all, Errol Channer with the outstanding $2 super chat. He is always here. Thank you so much for that. It's great to see you in the chat, but thank you so much for the generosity. And Gotham Guy, my goodness, dude, I think you do enough already with the with your you know what you do for the community, and of course the when you asked to add me to the +1, that was just again, it's always going to be in my heart. I really appreciate that. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat. He says, "Hey, Boom, I'm going to try my hardest to get you into Fan Fest somehow, some way." The E3 wish list sounds fantastic, but the Ninja Theory rumored game would be the cherry on top. And I got that's a first of all great point, Gotham Guy. I think we're gonna see Ninja Theory's game, and I think it's going to be that new IP that the brand has been looking for and needs desperately, in my opinion. Dreadpool, in regards to that, how excited are you to see what Ninja Theory is working on based on what they've done with their last game and what they've done in their portfolio as developers?
I'm not excited only to see it. I'm excited to hear it. I want to. I mean, seriously, it's just the the inclusion of bringing you and sucking you into the world with not just looking at the screen. You know, you're listening for cues. You're being a little bit more aware. It reminds me back when they brought the Connect and said, "Hey, you know, when you play this game, if you're too loud, you know, it listens to you." Well, I want to listen to the game too, and
Yes.
pick up, "Hey, somebody's coming this way," or "There's this information that's coming at you that you need to know to react or follow, you know, do something with." So it'll definitely be exciting to see what they do. Um, they are doing more than just, hey, here's a game, it's high graphics, you should have fun with it.
They're
You know, so
fantastic
they're
storytellers.
putting
You're
a lot of
correct.
thought. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they put a lot of thought into it.
Well, look, I'm going to say this. This list, of course, and I said this at the beginning, but I want to say it again because I know I'm going to get a message or three after the show is put up there. You know that I don't know what I'm talking about. That the list is fake, and I understand. I just want to throw it out there that this take with a grain of salt. But a lot of the list seems extremely feasible. We'll leave it at that. But I want to talk about our good friend Clobriel, who once again has done it. And you say, well, what did he do, Boom? Well, he apparently has lit the match and set Twitter ablaze once again with another leak. And it looks like something you would find in Sam Fisher's, you know, dressing room where he has a picture, right? And I'll post this on Twitter so you guys can see it if you didn't already see it. And it says Xbox Scarlett on top, and then it has Lockhart, and then it has Anaconda right next to it. And like a spy document, there are a lot of things that are redacted. And you say, well, what does that mean? That means it has the black line covering what the information is. And even though there's not a lot of stuff said here, we're gonna dig deep into what exactly is being said here. First of all, they have the word ray tracing for both. Now, it's a black line and it says ray tracing. So you're saying, well, is it hardware ray tracing where it's built into the actual console? I think you're going to get that in Anaconda. And I think that you're going to get the software version of ray tracing in the cheaper valued Lockhart. What I find interesting, everything else, of course, is the CPU is redacted, the GPU is redacted, the memory is redacted. It does say storage 1 terabyte NVMe, which is and a solid. They're both going to have solid state drives, which is fantastic. Having a solid state drive in these new systems is a must, in my opinion. And then it has yeah, well, I mean, then it has ray tracing and it's redacted, and then it has backwards compatibility, and that's redacted as well. So real quick, Dreadpool, before I get your opinion on this, I want to read exactly what it says for Lockhart. It says Lockhart, then underneath it says best value, and this is what it says: the lowest priced for next gen gaming. Engage and delight new gamers from day one. Xbox delivers the most value for all gamers. That's interesting because that kind of lines up with a $300 or $349 next gen system. And I hope, and I'm saying this as a fan of Xbox, not hating on anyone. I hope that we don't hear a price until we know what Sony's PS5 is gonna come out with. And I hope that they undercut the PS5 by $100 for Lockhart, making it because remember, the Lockhart is supposed to be slightly more powerful than the Xbox One X, which, by the way, is freaking amazing if you don't own one. And then for Anaconda, this is where it gets interesting, folks. It says performance leader. And I like that because leader means someone above everyone else, which is what the Anaconda is going to be in regards to power. It says Xbox is the undisputed performance leader. Games look and play best on Xbox. Flagship consoles drive Halo effort, the Halo effect across the ecosystem. Now, we all know, and this has been, Dealer has talked about this, Colt Eastwood have talked about this, the Don has talked about this, numerous people in the know who are, in my opinion, technical wizards, have heard from sources, and we've read this, folks. This isn't Boom making this up because I want clicks. I don't roll that way. You come to this show because you want information and you want passion, and you're gonna freaking get it, okay? But apparently, from sources, the Anaconda is not going to be slightly more powerful than the PS5. It's going to be substantially, visually better than the PlayStation 5. And that box is probably going to be $500. And this is the prices that I see, Dreadpool. I see Lockhart at $3. I see the PS5 at $4. And I see the Anaconda, the superior box, at $500. Are you okay with these price values?
Yes, I'm okay with them. I have no problem paying the extra money for the Anaconda because it is going to be the undisputed performance leader.
Yes.
It is going to play the best. This is going to be the Xbox for the hardcore. This is ones that are in the know. Okay. Lockhart is definitely for, we've already discussed it before, it's for the friends and family members that are into, hey, the new system's here, but, either they're tight on money or they just don't know any better. They don't listen to us that talk about the systems. Or, grandparents are just, little Johnny, here you go. You got a brand new Xbox. But I do have some interesting news to talk about that nobody's talked about. I haven't heard Colt or Dealer or even D. He hasn't talked
D-Bash,
about it.
he's a
Yeah,
technical wizard too, yes.
he hasn't talked about it. I've been doing my own research. for my Xbox. I have an SSD specifically for a lot of the online games, so that way they can load faster. I also was trying to figure out how Sony was loading their Spider-Man game so fast. So when I see what this photo says, storage 1 terabyte NVMe, okay, this is a solid state drive that does 3,500 megabytes per second.
Wow.
Okay. You know what an actual SATA drive does? And a lot of these older computers that everybody's been clamoring for, that they say, oh, get this and hook it up to your Xbox and it'll run faster and load faster. That's what I have. It does 550 megabytes. So you're talking about 7 times the speed for your loading of your games. I haven't heard anybody talking about this. I've talked about this with some friends because I'm actually looking at building an NVMe SSD and turning it to a USB 3 drive. USB 3 drive will support that speed.
Wow. I'm glad that you're here because I did not know
So
that.
an external, yes, I mean, like I said, I was trying to figure out how Sony was doing it, and then I started doing the research because I'm like, man, my drive needs to be faster. Drive needs to be faster. Everybody on the computers are putting these on right onto the motherboards. So I can't see why not. Microsoft or Sony doing the same thing. And that's how I started figuring out the speed difference. And you're talking about 7 times the speed of a SSD itself versus a hard drive. You know, that's 7 times difference from one to the next when you're comparing apples to apples, because it actually has a faster speed that's not topped out. Now, hard drives which we have in our system are a lot slower. We all know that. People that have had an S playing PUBG, they can actually load faster on an S than a standard X if they have an SSD. So yet again, you put these little pieces together. This is how Sony's doing their 0.8 seconds of load time.
Yeah, but that's Spider-Man with you know, the gaming
Mm-hmm.
guru that they have. Yep.
Right. So this is how they're doing it. They're also doing the NVMe. It's nothing special. It's just a special NVMe made for PlayStation, just like this NVMe that's going to be made for the Lockhart and Anaconda. These games are so huge, they're going to load fast. So this is awesome, because this is what I've been waiting on, and this is what I've been talking. Now this is, to me, validation.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
I'm excited. I'm dancing in my seat right now.
Yeah. Oh well. Look, first of all, thank you for the information, dude. Because, like I said, I'm a gamer with who shows up, puts a game in, downloads it, and plays. I don't really know the technical aspect of gaming, and in truth, like a magician, I wouldn't want to know how they do the trick. Because it would ruin it for me, which is why I originally thought about going to school for game design. And then when I started to see how things were done, it started to ruin it for me personally. So I immediately backed away. And I just want to, again, I want to be the kid that walks into Disneyland and is just amazed by what I see, which is why I'm not a game developer. I just like talking about games. But you know what? Listen, there are, you know, with E3 35 days away, you know, we have heard that Microsoft is far from done acquiring studios. And, you know, I got to tell you, you know, one of my most favorite parts about being a content creator is having a voice. And of course, with my love for the Xbox brand, you know, I get an opportunity each and every week to discuss rumors that sometimes are true and others they don't work out, right? But again, this is a talk show, and this is a show of hope, right? I know that in the last couple of weeks there's been a lot of back and forth, which I don't get involved in. I say my piece, I come out, I put on a proper show. And you're always going to come to this show and you're going to find positivity behind everything I do. The world is too freaking negative, and there's too much horribleness in the world, to be honest with you, where it has to leak into your gaming. Gaming is an escape for most of us. And when you come to my channel, when you come to this show, you're going to get the best show, not only because I'm going to go out of my way to find the best info, but I'm going to give you the positivity that you want, that you're not hearing some other shows. And I'm not calling anybody out. Everyone runs their own things the way they want to run it, and that's fine. But this show is always going to be positive. So, the other day, I had someone drop a very interesting DM suggesting that not only is Microsoft going to make a few big E3 acquisition announcements, but one of those megaton announcements is going to be the purchase of CryTek. And I'm going to say this. I'm talking to you guys. You guys don't see me. I'm not on camera. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this for a couple of reasons. First of all, we know that CryTek they're holders of the Rise Son of Rome IP. One of the still, and then it's incredible to say this, best looking Xbox One games. I don't know if people enjoyed it. I got to tell you, I've been jonesing for a sequel to this game. There is so much lore that they could, really take their time with. And could you just imagine the next Rise Son of Rome 2 or whatever they want to call it, using the Anaconda's power? How gorgeous that game would look. Again, if you're a fan, I hear you. If you're not, I understand that, pressing the Y button and the X button to block, and maybe that got tiresome for some. I really enjoyed it. But you know what? I want to have a little fun with this. See, again, because this is a talk show, so sometimes we have to go outside of fact, right? To make the show fun, I want to say this. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, that Dreadpool, that they do in fact purchase CryTek. Well, what are you getting with CryTek? Like I said, Rise Son of Rome comes with it. We know that Crysis still looks amazing after all these years. Crysis 1 was the benchmark for years on the PC. And to have them have that IP, who's to say they couldn't reboot that? Because I'd love to see a reboot of Crysis. Hell, at this point, I would just take an HD collection of all of them in one package. But I would like to see a reboot. But then you're going to have the Cry engine, which is still a fantastic engine. If this happens to come true, what are your thoughts on this? Would this be considered to you, Dreadpool, and of course to the chat, a big win for Team Microsoft?
It will be a big win. Oop, you didn't hear that. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Wife is walking around. It will be a big win. It's you're talking about an engine that the first game was made to melt computers. Okay, it was a tech demo, and for the longest time, it was only for the high powerful computers. All right, then they came out with the second game, and they made it for consoles, so it didn't meet what was expected of them. And then you go to the third one, which they kind of did a little bit of best of both worlds, and they even said that they wanted to literally on the third one melt your CPU. I don't see why they couldn't do it. I mean, you look at the game and how clear it looks. The Cry engine itself is unbelievable. Rise, Son of Rome, 2013, still today is being compared to other games.
Yes.
And I understand everybody's like, oh, you're just picking that game because of whatever. Well, no, for as old of a game as it is, just like Crysis, as old of a game as it is, still looks good considering its age. So if they're able to put their effort into the engine and build it up, I mean, you look at Unreal 4. Look at what they're doing with Unreal 4. Right now we have the Halo Infinity or Infinite engine. I forget what it's called now.
It's a Slipspace, the Slipspace engine.
Slipspace engine. You look at the quality that they're doing there. This is yet again another engine that they can put into. These guys know this engine inside and out. They're the ones that developed it. So it's not like, Slipspace being its first go out. So we're going to see what they can do on their first time going out. Infinite 2 in the next 5-6 years coming out is going to look even better, right? So CryEngine, the same thing. Everything that they've put in, they're just going to develop even more and make it even better. And this thing here will definitely push these consoles and the computers to the next level. They just have to find a good boundary between high-end CPUs, low-end CPUs, and the in-between that these consoles can do. So this is definitely an exciting, if it's true, an exciting investment.
Yeah, well, real quick, I just have to say a big thank you to Aiden Williams, who drops a $2 super chat. So wow, dude, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the super chat. And there was a $5 super chat that, of course, I got cut off. And I don't remember who it was because I'm trying to run the show. Do you see who? Can you look in the chat and see who the $5 super chat
The
was?
most recent one was Ricardo Willis.
Yes,
Great
Ricardo
show.
Williams. Yes, I want to say thank you very much for being here, Ricardo. You are the man. That $5 super chat is greatly, greatly appreciated. Every dollar does help the channel grow. It allows me to have massive giveaways like we're going to have tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that towards the end of the show. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this. I don't know what Phil Spencer can do regarding the announcements of I think it's almost expected, guys, that he's going to come on stage and he's going to say this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Now, I don't think it's going to be 5. I think that would blow my eyeballs out of my sockets if it was 5. I think we're going to get 3. I think we might even get 4. I would love CryTek to be one of them for everything that you said. For everything that you just said, more specifically, and I guess maybe this is kind of selfish. I think, and I don't remember who it was in the chat, said that Rise, Sun, and Rome could be a franchise that has years behind it, and I agree with you. There's a tremendous amount of lore there. I thought everything about the game graphically, it looked great. The story was fantastic. The combat, you might want to kind of touch up, maybe not so many X and Y's. I know this. I hope this doesn't piss anybody off, but if you look at what they did with God of War and that kind of combat, they could easily, he's not going to have a magic axe that flies back to his hand, but at the same time, they still could give, meaningful combat like they were able to do with Sony Santa Monica with Kratos, with the lead character for Rise, and I think when you look at CryTek, they've always been a company that in at least the last 4 or 5 years has struggled financially, right? We've always heard, the horror stories of devs not getting paid for weeks. And there were buyout talks and there were all these different talks. And somehow or another, they survived. If they get under the wing of Microsoft and they have that kind of money backing their studio up, I mean, man, the sky's the limit, in my opinion. But you know what? I want to talk about something that we normally talk about on this show, and that, of course, is Xbox Game Pass. I've said it. Drew said it. Dreadpool, I'll get your opinion on this in a second. To me, not only is it the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I've actually told Mike Ybarra that, and he actually retweeted it, which is kind of cool, but I think it's the best deal in gaming. And once again, they have proven that Xbox Game Pass subscribers win each and every month. This month in particular is, I mean, come on, it's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to go over the list. I'll get the chat's opinion. I'll get your opinion on this in the second, Dreadpool. To start off, we're getting Bethesda Softworks and Machine Games first-person shooter Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, and then we're going to get Chucklefish, their new strategy game called Wargroove, and that they went live on May 2nd. On May 9th, you're going to get from Paradox Interactive the space survival simulation game Surviving Mars, And then you're going to get the sci-fi narrative adventure, which I'm interested to play this because it looked really good, Tacoma. And then, of course, this to me is the jewel, if you will, in the crown of May's offerings, is Pearl Abyss's fantasy online role-playing game Black Desert, which is supposed to be really, really fantastic. And then May's lineup rounds out with the tabletop rogue like RPG For the King on May 10th, and on May 16th, the sci-fi action game that has been compared to Souls type of game called The Surge. And of course, finishing it off, the exclamation point, if you will, is Lego Batman 3, which is a great title. So here's the thing. In my opinion, this is another win for Xbox Game Pass subscribers. What are your takeaways, chat? And more specifically, Dreadpool, what do you think of the choices?
This sucks. Are you kidding me? My backlog is already backed up. I mean, a 400 game backlog.
Oh,
How many more
God.
do you need to put on there? I mean, I have games that I still haven't finished playing that have come out of the Game Pass, and I'm like, now I gotta buy it. You know, it's great. I mean, I really, really, I want to play Black Desert. I want to get into it. I just don't have the time. You know, and I've heard that from other people. It's an investment. I mean, I want to put it in there and do these games. I want to be able to play this. Some of them, they're not my thing. I might already have some of these games, like Wolfenstein. But it's not a big deal. I've got Batman 3. I've had it for a long time, but it's great. Yet again, it's a kid thing. I've got a kid. She's playing some of these games. Slime Rancher is like her biggest thing. So if they ever get rid of that thing, I'm going to be really up the creek with a paddle trying to go find it to buy it. But yeah, I mean, Game Pass is great. I mean, I don't understand why everybody still has a big deal about it. It's a great value. I'm always going to probably always be subscribed to it. I'm just not going to do the ultimate pass.
Yeah, well, the ultimate pass, if from for a person like myself who actually is subscribed until almost the end of 2020, because I always take advantage. Whenever the 6 months deals for $30 comes up, I buy it because I'm always going to be subscribed to Game Pass. I think it is the ultimate fan service for people, for fans of Xbox. Again, if you're, we know that some of the first party games have been a little light, right? They haven't been coming out in droves. But once they get these, all of these studio purchases in order, it's going to be, they've already said publicly that they want a AAA game every quarter, which is 4 a year. And then you can sprinkle in other little developed games in there that are going into Game Pass. It's going to be worth its price of admission just on one game or two games if you logistically pay $10 a year. Again, if you're not subscribed, I highly say jump on board. You can get 3 months right now for $1. And for 3 months, so you could really get crazy, play every game that you want. If you're new to Xbox family, I say welcome with open arms because that's the kind of show this is. And you know what? 3 months for $1, you get a chance to play all of the first party games that are in there, the Halos, the Gears, the Forzas, and everything else. It's such a great deal. But before I move on to the next topic, I normally, I read the chats. And I don't normally respond unless someone is absolutely rude. And I will not, I don't name shame. It's an opinion, but I'm going to say who it is because I thought he was being overly rude. Joe Taylor writes in the chat, Clobriel, Rand, and Jez Corden have all debunked the CryTek rumor. It's clearly not happening. Why can't you people pay attention? Well, here's the thing, dude. First of all, it's real easy to be an asshole in the chat, which is what you're being. Okay. When you can write for 3 shows in 1 week and produce all of them, then you can come and call me an asshole. No problem there. But if you recall, and I think I recall as well, I said, let's pretend this is true. Having fun with it, which you have just sucked the life out of. So if this show isn't for you and you think I'm an asshole, that's cool. It's not a problem. I say, take your ball, go home, hit the thumbs down button, and unsubscribe to the channel if I'm being such a bother. But I want to move on to the next topic because I'm not going to stand for that kind of shenanigans and leave anything unchallenged. In a story, Dreadpool, that I pulled from comicbook.com, 343 Industries franchise developer, who of course we all know and love, Frank O'Connor, shared an interesting tidbit about Halo Infinite. And, this, of course, was during the interview where he insisted there will not be a battle royale mode in the game. The team was looking into big social modes with loads of organic shenanigans for the first person shooter. So you may not get your battle royale mode, but it seems that you're going to get a lot of big team battle type situations, which is one of my favorite modes. Now, it appears that Halo Infinite is likely going down the live service route, and I'm okay with that. But by adding big social modes, they will have players coming back for years on end, in my opinion. In the past, though, 343 Industries has said it will be looking to expand on the franchise with Infinite, as we know. And it would be looking to add more RPG elements and character customization options, which I am absolutely all for. I love Halo. I love Master Chief. I love the world. I love the lore. But change is sometimes necessary. And I think that is what we're going to get with Halo Infinite. It doesn't sound like Halo Infinite, though, will be reinventing the wheel with its take on long-running franchise. Listen, it's going to be Halo. We're going to all love it. It's going to have the new engine. It's going to look amazing. It's going to run amazing. But of course, we all know we all want more Chief, and we're going to get that in spades, I think. But according to the article, 343 Industries has said they consider Halo Infinite as a spiritual reboot, which implies there are going to be big changes to the long-running Xbox franchise. And to be completely honest, I believe it's time. Now, when they say big social modes, Dreadpool, this is where I get excited because, we've seen the Battle Royale modes of in Fortnite be like 50v50, right? We've seen that running and it's fine. We've seen the 1 versus 100. We've seen different, different ways to have 100 people, 100 gamers, 100 Xbox gamers, more specifically, playing on a single map. For me, I would love nothing more than for big team battle to make a grand reappearance in a 25v25, maybe even 50v50. Could you just imagine the chaos that would be on this map? How big it would have to be, how incredible it would be. You could logistically run with 10 of your friends while there's still 40 other Red Spartans running around killing each other, and you could run as a freaking crew. Dreadpool, in your opinion, how amazing does this sound? And what is your favorite Halo Online mode?
You see, it doesn't sound amazing. I've actually lived this experience. I played Tribes on PC way back in the day when you had entire sides and squads going against each other. So this is nothing new for me. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be amazing because now you can have your crew, you can have another crew, and you can have 5-6 crews, of 4 to 8 people and each one has their own objective as they go through. Now you have the other side with the same amount of people, different setups, still coming at you with their objectives. So you may have a 4-man team going to this one objective while the 8-man team on the opposite side is also going to the subjective. Yes, you may get smoked because you're only 4, but if it's calibrated right, it's going to give you like you'll have the advantage because you have 4 versus the 8. The 8 is cannon fodder. So, but yet at the same time you have more guns. So there's a little bit more interaction there. There's a lot more diversity, and then with the fact that the RPG-esque. Okay, well, what do we say about Origins? What do we say about Odyssey? Yes, let's do this. This is what they need to change it up so it's not the same old, because a lot of people are complaining. This is the same. I'm getting bored with this. As huge of a battlefield as they're going to have, we've proven with other games, 50 versus 50, one against 50, one against 100. You know, all these different modes. It doesn't have to be battle royale.
Right. Right.
So for him to say it's not battle royale, it's because it got that negative stigma of everybody saying, yes, great, another battle royale. Is this what is this now? Who's making this? Oh, it's just another battle royale. Oh well, it doesn't have this. I mean, Apex came out, changed up the battle royale thought pattern, and what happened? Epic went ahead and copied that too. So Fortnite is now copying what works for other franchises. So yet again, they're on top. They may copy what Halo's doing, but you can't beat Halo.
No, I absolutely agree. I think the thing is this, Halo 5, for what it is, some people love it. Some people like myself were disappointed by it, simply because I didn't think the story was as strong as I would have liked it. Not to mention uh, using lock for almost 80% of the game, as opposed to using chief for 80 and lock for 20 or 30, 70-30, it would have been fine. I understand that they were trying to introduce Locke as a main, being a main character in the franchise, and that's fine. But I just didn't enjoy the story as much as previous Halos. Now, Warzone, on the other hand, was fantastic.
Yes.
And I didn't put as much time as I should have into Warzone, but it was a very big team battle s kind of a mode where it was PvP versus. I also had a touch of PvE in there, and I thought that was really interesting. Me personally, when I say big team battle, I want a big team battle, not 12v12. I want 25v25, 50v50 with tanks and warthogs and pelicans and you name it. I want it in there, flying or driving, and I think it would be great. I got even one even better, and no one has talked about this, but what about if they do? They try to recreate some of the wars that happened, where one side would be all Spartans and the other side would be all Covenant. I think that would be dope, because you're going to, I mean, again, Spartan versus Spartan, fine. Standard fare. We've done it. We've been doing it for years. But if you're going to do a big team battle, if you're going to do social engagements that are going to be epic, my thought process, and of course, I don't think I'm getting any calls from 343 anytime soon to work with them, which I would love to do. So if you're listening, I need a job. But getting back to the topic at hand, I would love to see a recreation of some of the wars that we've read about, we've seen about in the CG, where it was all Spartans versus all Covenant. I think that would be something new, something different, something fun. And you know what? There are a lot of great Covenant weapons, just as much as there are great, Spartan weapons. And I think being on either team would be a big win for the fans. What do you think about that, dude?
I think it'd be awesome. Just be able to play the lore and have part of it. I mean, it's not a Civil War reenactment, but it's going to be close to it. I mean, I'm also thinking, why do we have to have two teams? Why do we have to have two sides? Why can't we have 4 or 5 sides?
Well, now that's
Each
interesting.
each faction, can be its own thing. We could have our own clan and gather up, and this is, in our bulletin board to have, hey, this is the objectives. I mean, we do this already in Division 2. You know, here's your objectives, here's this, here's that. You know, and as a clan, you go to meet your objectives. You know, you have your dailies, you have your weeklies. You know, all this stuff is in there. Everybody's doing different variations of everything. Collect it all and get the best of the best and come up with it. You know, why can't we have brutes and elites fighting each other while we're fighting another faction? And at the
That
same
sounds
time,
very interesting. Your idea is better than mine.
it's a little bit of a combination, you know. But at the same time, you have NPCs that are fighting in there. So you have the basic humans, you know, the orbital shop drock troopers. I forgot what it's called,
Yes.
ODST.
Yes.
So you still have that. So not everybody has to be a Master Chief. Not everybody's a Spartan, you know. So you can put the variance in there, so you're not always overpowered. You know, I mean, granted, you know, when you're playing um, Spartan versus Spartan, you're going to want to have, you know, the Spartan capabilities. But if
Right,
you
of
want to bring
course.
it down and you want to do the lore, you know, all right, here's this. I mean, I'm not saying go Call of Duty, here's your story and go through the tunnel and, you know, fight your way there and save Private Ryan. No, let's go through and build the lore, you know, because you do have a little bit more history than just Spartans fighting a war.
Yeah,
You do
that's true.
have infighting between everybody else. I mean, perfect example. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Your NPC would be the Flood. Boom. Everybody else could be playable
That's
characters.
dope. Yeah, that's really good. I think they should hire you before they hire me, dude, because that would be fantastic. Irodella in the chat says 25 v25 v25 v25, and that's kind of dope. 4 factions, NPC characters fighting, which would be good. Kind of like if you remember Titanfall 1 when they used to have the soldiers running around that you could kill or could help you, and the flood being involved, because I think the flood is coming back. We have no confirmation of that. I would like to see them come back. I know people are like, the flood, they've done it. I would like to see the flood come back. I'd like for them to really go in the back lore story of the flood. But you know what? You know, we're gonna move on to the next topic, but we're gonna keep it with Halo. And you know, there's a question, a Dreadpool, that has plagued Xbox fans for years. And I kind of wanted to address that on today's show. And again, this is a fun topic. This is, you know, of course, a topic that's going to involve the chat. You know, obviously, Master Chief is by far one of the most recognizable heroes in gaming today. The Halo franchise, like the Star Wars franchise, has transcended gaming into novels, toys, comics, statues, clothing, every kind of collectible there is. But the looming question among diehard fans of the series, and it's a big one, and though being that this is an Xbox centric show, I thought it'd be fun to debate live on the air. What is the best Halo game in the entire franchise? Not ranking 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. What is the best Halo franchise? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the chat go crazy with this. And I'm gonna just, you know, keep talking with you, Dreadpool, before I get your, you know, your opinion on this. And listen, to be completely honest, this wasn't, you know, my choice, which I'm going to give you in a second, was easy for me. And you know what? I'm gonna actually go first because I have a whole thing written down. I'm gonna go crazy. On
After you.
September 25th, which just so happens to be Boom's birthday in 2007, the best game in the Halo series was released in the form of Halo 3. The story was fantastic. The multiplayer was nothing short of perfection. And the amount of hours I put into this game was ridiculous. With all of the promises coming from 343 and Halo Infinite, my opinion could obviously change in 2020 when it launches, hopefully launches. But as of today's show, to me, in my opinion, the best Halo game in the franchise is Halo 3. Dreadpool, I want to get your opinion and why your pick is your pick.
Well, my pick, I'm not going to tell you just yet. You're going to figure it out when I tell you
Okay.
how this story goes. My pick starts off with the first Halo, which is
Oh.
the reason why I bought the Xbox, which is the reason why I got other friends at a LAN party to allow me to. I mean, we're talking about a computer LAN party, and I'm saying, "Hey, I'm bringing my Xbox. Does anybody else have one? What are you talking about? I got Halo. Let's we brought that over and played that 4-player split screen. Next thing you know, my friends got rid of their PlayStation, bought an Xbox, bought Halo. Now we have 2 Xboxes. Next thing you know, we have 4 Xboxes.
Oh, that's
We're
great.
we're up to in my garage, sitting outside with the overhead open, 16 Xboxes, 16 TVs, and I'm networking everybody, and we're all having fun. We got guys with
Great.
32-inch TVs because I'm like, I got the 32-inch TV. We'll split this 4 screen 4-way, so that way it's not an unfair advantage. And then we got other guys that brought this little 8-inch TV, and I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. I don't have to move my
That's
eyes. I don't have
great.
to move my head. Everything's focused in one. This. I'm like, you can't even see it. All right, fine. But we literally had 16 TVs of all different sizes, 16 games, all hooked up to a network. Obviously, I do computer work too, so this is how we go. We also started connecting to GameSpy, and we're playing online. Here we are, our crew thinking, we're all top dogs here. No, we got smoked.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so here we are playing online on Halo 1 before Halo 2 even comes out. We play Halo 2, dual wielding, online, live. I was beta testing live from the get go. I'm all about this. This is awesome.
Nice.
So I've been playing all this stuff. We're still going to friends' houses and hooking up networks, but we're not doing as big of a LAN party as we used to. But we're still getting with our friends. Halo 3 comes out. They change up everything. So you won't believe. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Just the graphics are better. Everything's better. It's like, holy cow! Can you believe what we're playing here? You know, you have ODST. Which I loved it because it's a side story. It wasn't just okay. Here's another Master Chief story. Here we go again. It brought something different, so we were able to change it up a bit and see a different perspective, and which is why I said what I said earlier. Then you got 4. Eh, good story, not too bad. Then you got 5, and it's like, okay, why did you screw it up? I mean,
Yeah.
we're not here to play lock. If we wanted to play lock, it should be, like a Spartan side mission. This is the game. It's not it. Master Chief is involved. It's around him, but it's not his story.
Right.
It's Locke's story, and that's where
Yes.
they should have went with it. And that should have
Yeah.
been the marketing. That should have also been a lot more Locke and a lot less Chief. Only for the fact that it's not Halo 5. It's 4.5.
Right. They could have. Well,
Okay.
so what you're saying is they could have handled it like an ODST kind of a game, a
Yes.
side mission, side story game, 25 hour single player campaign with multiplayer, but not Halo 5.
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
you see what they did. They try to mimic what they did with 2. 2 was unbelievable because they gave you the full story of what was going on and they
Yes.
showed you both sides. This isn't both sides. This is you being as chief and then you hunting down chief. This isn't both sides of a conflict. You're not seeing both sides and then you both agree and say, "Oh, well, we're going to do this." You're not seeing all this stuff. You're hunting down Master Chief. Nobody wants to be the guy hunting down Master Chief. Even Locke said it. Their teams are like, "Why are we hunting him down? He's rogue. We got to go after him." What, are you serious? Nobody wanted that. So I'm going to say this. My answer is the best Halos come in threes. Halo 3 and the next one, which is going to be Infinite.
Okay, that's a great point of view. Real quick, I gotta say a big thank you to Philip Moore in the chat, dude. Thank you so much. He says, "Boom, love the show. Keep up the good work." Well, thank you very much, Philip. First of all, welcome. We welcome all here. Doesn't matter what flag you fly. Thank you so much for the generosity in the super chat, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the content. Real quick, I got to shout out my very good friend who's been on Breakfast with Boom numerous times, Slow Mo Backslap, who shows up each and every week, which I cannot thank you enough. If you don't follow this guy on Twitter, shame on you, number one, because he has the best freaking avatar pick in gaming, in my opinion. And he is on another fantastic show, which is on Wednesdays. That is the Basement Radio Arcade podcast with his co-host Enrique. Get those guys some love. Head over there if you're not subbed. Sub their channel. Tell him Boom sent you. And he says something very interesting regarding Halo Infinite. Once Halo Infinite finishes, Chief will hand over the mantle or pass the torch, is what he said, to the new younger Spartan, your character, and that is the infinite part of the game where now you're going to be able to play as this new Spartan, and each person, like Destiny, will have their own stories told by the actions that they do. And I'm sure Chief isn't going to, drop off the face of the map, but I think that is a pretty interesting way to hand off Infinite, keeping Chief still involved, but you as a character being new. It's Infinite, right? Halo Infinite means that you're going to be playing this character for years to come. It would be pretty dope if you could create your own Spartan, creating your own adventures and history and lore. I like what he is selling. I'm certainly buying. But I want to move on to the next topic. This is another original piece. The one thing I enjoy about this community is that there are many amazing Xbox community members. One in particular, and I believe that she might be in the chat, or she does frequent the chat, by the name of Delilah HD. And I bring her up because she wrote an outstanding, top-notch Twitter post that was so damn good. It sparked Jez Corden, another friend of the show, to write an amazing article for Windows Central. I'm a big fan of both of theirs, and I thought that it was so awesome that I would make it a topic today. So this is what I want to read. First of all, this was Delilah HD's Twitter post, and she wrote very simply, I want a ReCore game sequel with a AAA budget developed by Armature Studios and Microsoft Studio and Xbox. It has so much potential. There, I said it. Nurture your IP, meaning the one IP. And then Jez Corden, who I really enjoy his writing. I do. I'm a big fan of him and Rand on the Xbox 2 Factor the Xbox 2, not the Factor podcast. That's this show, damn it. The Xbox 2 show that they have, which I tune into every week. I love what these guys do. And if you, again, another fantastic Xbox show, get out there and sub both those guys because they're worth it. Jez Corden wrote an article titled, and he wrote this for Windows Central. You can go there and you can find it. Read it. It's really well done. Is Microsoft doing enough to nurture its Xbox game franchises? And he finishes it with, imagine if all of those games didn't get abandoned. So for this particular topic, I kind of want to just go over some of the franchises that have been completely abandoned. And I hope that this is this trend that we saw in this generation is going to change. And the 6 IPs that I pulled, of course, Rise, Son of Rome. We'd love to see a sequel. Quantum Break. I'd love to see a sequel. Really enjoyed what they did with that game. And Alan Wake. It's almost a shame that we don't have a new Alan Wake. We have 2. We have American Nightmare and the original, but it's terrible that we don't have one on this console. Sunset Overdrive is another IP that was abandoned. And we see what Insomniac did with Spider-Man. Case closed, end of story. And probably they're going to be stuck doing Spider-Man now because Spider-Man 1 was amazing. And then, of course, the next 2 are Recore, which of course, like Delilah said, I would absolutely love a AAA budget behind that game. I thought Julie, or Jewel, however you want to say her name, was a fantastic female lead. I loved the personality and the different robots that you had. I loved the aesthetics of the world. And of course, one of my favorite fighting games of all time, and I still think we're going to see it at E3 2019. Killer Instinct needs a proper sequel at this point. And they've supported the hell out of the game. With different characters and guest characters, and it still to this day looks magnificent. But I think it needs a proper sequel. So my question to you, Dreadpool, is: in your opinion, as an Xbox gamer, do you agree with both Jez Corden and Delilah HD that Microsoft needs to be, I guess, do better when nurturing their IPs that are not Halo, Gears of War, or Forza?
Yes. Plain and simple, yes. I mean, you've already talked about all the points that I wanted to discuss anyway, so we're going to mimic here. I'm going to kind of go off a little bit. Like I said before earlier, Record, not very many people are asking for it. A lot of people complained that it was too plain. I had fun with the game, so I have no ill wills towards the game. I wouldn't mind seeing a second one, but I want them to literally nurture these games. You know, uh, it's all sand, it's all rocks. Yeah, okay. So you're not going to have everything. They minimized with what they had. They did with what they could. But to build upon Rise, it doesn't have to be a sequel. It could be yet again another story
A
in that
retelling,
era.
maybe.
That,
Yeah,
yeah,
a
that
different story, a different hero. Sure, that's great,
yes,
dude.
because I mean, to me, the story's over. It was done. What else are you going to talk about it? There's nothing to tell anymore. To me, the way it ended, that's it. We're done. But bring back Rise. It doesn't have to be Sun of Rome. Like I said, it could be another story. If they want to bring in another female lead, I'm cool with that. Quantum Break was
Yes.
a great game. Uh, it didn't get the credit it deserved. Oh, it's 720. Who cares? It's a good game. You know, it's a great game. And then now what do we have? We have Control going on, everywhere else. That would have been Quantum Break 2, but it wouldn't have been what it is now. But you see the direction that Control went from Quantum Break. If they were able to come up with a second one with a better story, and reimagining of powers and the time travel and warp and all this stuff, it'd be great. I mean, Alan Wake classics, both of them. I love them. Um, it, at first, I was like, "Are you kidding me? What is this? Like, this seems too simple. What am I starting over here?" So, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could have done with that. Sunset Overdrive. I mean, it's a fun game. You can't say anything bad about it. Yeah, it might be monotonous to some people. But it's a fun game. And then Killer Instinct. We definitely need it. I mean, give us higher resolution, give us better graphics. I mean, just everything. Let's do the backgrounds better. Let's get more interaction with the world that you're fighting in. Mortal Kombat's doing it now, but
Yep.
it doesn't have to be Mortal Kombat. It needs to be Killer Instinct. There's a soul that Killer Instinct has that's different from Mortal Kombat. Let's bring back the Killer Instinct soul. They started working on it, and it just I'm fine with the seasons. You buy the game, you get your characters. You're not buying a game again. You're adding more characters to the season. But let's build upon that better. To me, it feels like they fell short, especially season 3.
I
It
agree.
just
Yeah.
didn't have the potential it should have had, and it should have been better than season 2. So they definitely need to put more time in it. And it's not just these games. There's many more games that they have that they need to.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get into that in a second,
Okay,
dude.
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
Didn't
in
mean to
that to a
jump the
second.
gun, but
Yeah.
yeah, they definitely need to put their time down into it. They need a better thought process. They need you or me to walk them through this. Apparently.
Listen, dude, I could use a job at Microsoft. That's my dream job. As much as it was great being in working for the NYPD for 21 plus years, job of my life. That was great. Love serving the people of the city, and doing all that I could do in uniform. But as a gamer, to work for Microsoft, well, I mean that's the dream job for me. I would move to Seattle, folks. If need be, that's what I would do. But when we went over those 6 or 7 IPs, right? That was from this generation, right? We look and we say, you know what? Every one of those titles deserves a sequel in one way or another. Hands down, no questions asked. Okay. So to add to this title, to add to this particular topic, I went back and I looked at some OG Xbox games and some Xbox 360 games that I think, and this is just my opinion, and that's what I'm going to bring in the chat. What games do you want to see come back that get sequels or reimagining titles, if you will, from the OG Xbox and the 360? So here's what I came up with. First of all, Crimson Skies, which was supposedly in development at a smaller studio. If you remember when that became backwards compatible through OG Xbox on your Xbox One, looked and played absolutely freaking amazing. Okay, loved Crimson Skies. Conquer is a massive IP. Clobriel uses it as his Twitter pick. He's one of his favorite characters, from what I understand. I think a new Conquer would be great for the IP. Without a doubt, we definitely need a new Banjo and Kazooie. It's almost an injustice upon gaming that we don't have one of those. As great as Mario is, and as great as Sonic, and as great as Jack and Daxter and any of the other PlayStation characters, Banjo-Kazooie deserves a place in 2019 or 2020. They're just beloved characters. I'd love to see them come back. I'd like to see them go and do a new MechAssault, which I think may be something that they've been talking about. I'd love to see a new MechAssault. Loved MechAssault 1 and 2 on the OG Xbox. Cameo by Rare Studios was an incredible launch Xbox 360 game. Why would you not do a sequel? So much lore. The female lead character was amazing. All of her different creatures that you could use. It's still a magnificent game. If they don't, again, give us test the waters. Do an HD version of that, not a backwards compatible. Go in there, touch up the graphics, and see what the people say about Cameo. I think she's a great lead character. Project Gotham Racing. I know Forza's the shit, right? I understand that's the end all be all of racers, but before Forza, there was Project Gotham Racing, and I love that series. Here's my other ones. Brute Force. Okay, I get it. It wasn't the greatest game of all time, but I'm going to be honest with you. I really enjoyed that game. Would love to see a modern day sequel, and we actually might be getting something similar to that in what Ninja Theory is working on. Viva Pinata. I mean, come on. How we don't have a Viva Pinata 3 or at least a reboot of the original? I'd love that. That game was fantastic. Color galore. One of Rare's best works for sure. Shadowrun. Would be a great way. Not the first person shooter that they had. I wasn't a big fan of that. I'd like to see them do like a standard, old school RPG with just new graphics. And last but certainly not least, and I think we're going to get it as a surprise. I've been hearing talks behind, certain, back doors, if you will, a new Ninja Gaiden. Obviously, Team Ninja released Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. They were fantastic on both the Xbox, the OG, and the 360, which they're both backwards compatible. Would love to see a reboot. Don't continue what the travesty of justice they did with 3 and the other one that looked like a cartoon with zombies. Don't do that. Reboot. Look, let me just say this, Dreadpool. There are plenty of untapped potential IPs that I listed. The one thing I have to say is that when you look at how Nintendo uses their older IPs to garner excitement with the fan base, It's basic, it's magic, and I compare Nintendo to Disney World. I think that their characters hold such a place in this world for imagination that, you know, in my opinion, the Disney of video games is of course Nintendo. And with all of the games that we just listed, including the ones from this generation, Microsoft has so many untapped IPs that they could bring back. And if they start buying up studios left and right, why not let one of the smaller studios reinvent the wheel with some of these smaller franchises? Not every game needs to be a $500 million budget like Infinite is, right? What are your takes on the games I picked, and are you in agreement with they need to do better with their older IPs, possibly bring a lot of them back?
That's part of the nurturing that I was talking about. These older IPs, Crimson Skies. I do remember they said that they were working on something about it. I was hoping to hear something. Uh, I was hoping for a better flight mechanic. I mean, obviously we know better graphics. I mean, the graphics on the old one were so dated, but they look good for back in the day.
Yes, it
Um,
did.
Now Conquer, I don't understand it. I mean, Live and Reloaded was awesome.
It
I mean,
was.
we had it was such a fun game to play. I mean, Conquer it's himself. I mean, come on now, it's a great mascot. Banjo Kazooie, my daughter plays that. She loves the Banjo games. So she goes through them all, and then she's like, "Daddy, I need help. I can't get, you know." And I'm like, "Where are you?" Because I'm lost right now. You know, trying to figure out where she's at so I can help her progress to the next spot. You know, she's only 5, so you know, games like that. It doesn't have to be for the hardcore. So you know, some people are like, "Ah, come on, another Banjo game. Come on, you know, another Viva Pinata, another Cameo." Well, it's not for you. It's something for everybody. So it might not be for you, but it'll be for this 5-year-old, or it might be for a let's say a teenage girl that just wants to play a little bit of Sims. You know, Pinata. I had some friends of mine that loved Viva Pinata, and that's all they played. They didn't play anything else because they weren't into shooters. They weren't into all the violence. They liked Cameo. You know, so you got to come up with other things than just first person shooter. Let's kill everything, let's blow everything up. I mean, yeah, this is what we're into. It's not what everybody else is into. Mech Assault, I've been asking for that for years. I even wanted to play what was that Mech War with a 200 button controller. I wanted that thing. That was
That
awesome.
was by Capcom, dude. That was
Yeah,
amazing, dude. I
that
didn't
was
buy it,
awesome.
but surprisingly enough, Boom did not buy that monstrosity controller. I wanted it, I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I wanted that thing so bad. And then when they said, "Oh, we got the one for Connect," you know, the next, I'm like, ah, yeah, the technology's not there. As much as I love Connect, technology's not there to be able
Yeah.
to do the second game. Perfect Dark. I mean, we've been asking for that. There's
Yes.
rumors for
Yes.
that.
Yes.
There's, you know,
Yes.
somebody's working on something dark, and it's like Perfect Dark. I mean, Jonah, come on, you know. So it was great to see that a lot of these games came back on the rare collection, you know, to be able to play those again. But yet again, can we up the graphics? It doesn't have to be a full remake, but let's do something with it, or let's go in a different direction and build it from the ground up. Let's do something, you know. Let's bring these back. I mean, we were just talking about Fable. They made 1, 2, and 3. They even have a 3 collection of 1, 2, and 3 that you could buy. That's back compat. They have, you know, the if it's a Avalon collection, it could be the other Fable games in the series, Traveler or whatever that was called. Now, why can't we do that with some of these? You know, Perfect Dark. Let's bring it back. Okay, it do something with it. And Brute Force, I love Brute Force. I've been
Yeah.
asking for that for a while.
That's an oldie but goodie, dude.
Yes, yes. I can understand Project Gotham Racing because that was, I believe, Codemasters was the old company that made the developers that were making that. Or at least they went to Codemasters. I forgot. It's been such a long time ago.
It might be Codemaster. Dude, I honestly would be taking a guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Now here's one for you. I'm glad you answered what you answered. Um, because it actually gave you a direction of what you liked, which is good. I like it too. Shadowrun. Why
Yes.
does magic smell like bacon? Does anybody remember that? I love that. I was fine with the first-person shooter format. I was cool with it. I like the fact that they set, they kept it the same, but they went in a different direction. So I wouldn't be opposed to mix the two together or come up with two different versions. Like we said, let's do a side quest. Okay, well, here's your multiplayer version here, so it's all FPV, and here's your true Shadowrun game that's based on the actual heart of what Shadowrun was. Let's bring it back. So now you have best of both worlds, and that's where the thought process and nurturing comes in. Yeah, not everybody's going to be happy with first person shooters, but everybody can do um, turn-based. It's not for everybody. Yet again, all these games are not for everybody. And Ninja Gaiden, I mean, yeah, let's go ahead, reboot that thing, forget 3, and let's. Don't want to say it, but let's make it so everybody can play it. I'm not saying put an easy mode in there. Let's
Right.
get that game back out there so everybody can get into it and play it. I want to add one that's been on my mind. I don't remember if it's Microsoft, but I believe it is Bloodwake.
Oh,
Remember the
dude,
shooting
I
boat
was
game?
looking at that. That's great. What a great pick.
But that's all I could think of because you pretty much got some of the other ones that I was thinking of already.
You
So,
got
but yeah,
Bloodwake. If you don't remember what that was, that was like a boat game, right?
yeah, it was a boat driving game, but it was like a first person shooter on water. So if you think of it that way, I mean, you'd have to steer the boat, but it was so quick, so easy to navigate. It didn't feel like you're on Sea of Thieves or Black Flag or any of that stuff because it was just run and guns, cigar boat, and machine guns, and you can just go through and just go to this objective, go to that objective. It was kind of like a Hydro Thunder with guns
Oh, man, Hydrothon,
and
another
dark.
great title.
Yes.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this. We're not in marketing, right? We don't make the decisions at Microsoft. Though I wish I was in. I really wish they would reach out to folks like Delilah HD, like yourself, like me, many people in the chat, and say, hey, listen, what would you guys? Because sometimes companies do that, right? They do polls, and what IP would you like to see? Come back. And I really wish. I mean, listen, Microsoft is, in my opinion, of the three development companies, right? The three main companies that are involved in gaming, they're probably the most consumer friendly of them all. There's no doubt about it. But I do wish that they did. Again, Phil's great with talking to people. Aaron Greenberg, what can you say about the guy? The guy's a gem. All he does is give back to charities in the community. And Mike Ybarra is always, popping in people's chats. I'm hoping eventually to get Mike Ybarra on the show, even if it's for 5 minutes. I have not seen him in my chat as of yet, but maybe one day. And he's always dropping code. So these are big time, people within Microsoft, and they talk with the people, which I really dig. Larry Herb also talks with the people. But I wish they would offer some sort of an outreach program, if you will, to say, hey, fans of Xbox, people that have been here since the OG days, what would you like to see us bring back? And I think you'd get a lot of Conquerors. I think you'd get a lot of Banjo Kazooies. I think you'd get a lot of Perfect Darks. That was a good call. For some reason, I did not have that on my list, and I don't understand how I missed that. I don't understand it, but I'd love to see. And again, Perfect Dark supposedly is being worked upon by the Gears of War guys. But we don't know. Again, this is just all rumor, folks. But I'm going to say this: this has been an outstanding unbelievable 90 minutes. It seems like we just started the show, to be honest with you. It has been one magnificent topic after another. I hope everyone, we had almost 150 people watching live. I cannot thank you for that. Thank you enough for that. Dreadpool, of course, dude, you bailed out the show in a big time. And of course, Drew, obviously, he doesn't like to miss a show. He was devastated. But, family first, folks. Sometimes, things happen and, we have to handle them like people, right? We have to handle the business. And, hopefully his fiance is feeling much better. Dreadpool, I cannot thank you enough for being here. Again, this is the second time in this year that you've bailed out the show, this particular show, and it was great having you on. And please do me a favor and tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter. And because you're always in the chat, dude. You're a fan's fan, and we appreciate you being in the chat, supporting all of the podcasters. Oh wow, real quick, I have to say, Alan Savage with the ridiculously outstanding $20 super chat. He says, "Are you not entertained? Hit that like button and subscribe." Well, Alan, listen, first of all, thank you for being here, dude. If you don't know who Alan Savage is, he supports everyone. I actually met Alan, not physically, of course, when I was on, seeing he used to, tune into MNC Mornings with Mooch and Crap. Also, of course, on Crossfire on Friday nights. And I cannot thank you enough, Alan, for one, listening to the show. That's a big deal for me. Having you in the chat is a big deal, but that $20 super chat, my God, dude, that is extremely generous of you. Thank you so much. Dreadpool, tell everyone where they could follow you, dude.
Okay, Xbox, it's Dreadpool, all caps, just the way it sounds. I'm on Twitter also, Dreadpool with all caps, and the O's are actually zeros.
Nice.
I didn't realize it last time that we talked about it. I'm just like, whatever, That's, same thing with you, YouTube. So it's Dreadpool, all caps, and I have. The last time I looked, I actually got 6 followers. I actually had to put a video of a local restaurant. I just had a 5-second fire that I had somebody set for me, and it was at that time it was for my birthday. So I ended up getting 2 followers from that. And I was okay. So one
great. I
video,
love it.
6 followers.
Hey, listen, dude. You know what? You're a quality community member, and you always have a lot of good things to say. You stay positive. Love the fact that you're in the chat each and every for so many people's shows. And real quick before we get you guys out of here, tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom is first of all, it's going to be tremendous for a lot of reasons. One, of course, is the amount of giveaways that we're going to have. As you know, my wife and I, Mrs. Boomstick, who a lot of people know in the chat, are constantly saying hello to her, and she'll be in the chat tomorrow. Wanted to do something special for the 50th, near 1 year of Breakfast with Boom. It still amazes me that I've gotten 50 shows under my belt, and I would not be anywhere if it wasn't for this incredible community. So my wife and I wanted to give something back to the community, and we're offering over $200 worth of giveaways. There's going to be 2 codes for two $25 Xbox Live gift card codes and 2 3-month Xbox Live Game Pass codes. But each winner is going to get a bonus Marvel wallet that I will be mailing out to you either over the weekend or that following Monday. And we're doing that in celebration of Marvel's Avengers Endgame that was just absolutely an amazing film. And to celebrate both Marvel and, of course, Breakfast with Boom, we're having these giveaways. But a good friend of the show, good friend of this amazing community, sends Shizno Elite. As you know, you've seen him in the chat. He was in the chat today. He reached out to me via DM, and he is going to be giving a code for Mortal Kombat 11 for someone in the community to win for tomorrow's show. He says it's his way of saying thank you to me. I don't even know what to say, dude. First of all, it's thank you for being in the chat every time, but he's offering this prize to someone in the community, which I'll be using Tweet Draw to pick live on the air. And real quick, if you guys kind of just want to know who is going to be a part of this incredible panel, well, I got the members for you right here. The Mooch from M&C Mornings and Crossfire is going to be there, along with the Italian Clowns, So Shady, Emperor Zemi, Jamie Moran, and rounding off this incredible panel is going to be Noof Nukem, which is probably the biggest panel I've ever had. We have a ton of topics that are going to be nothing like today's show, completely different, which is why I work so hard to make sure that each show sounds different. I want to thank everybody for being here. I have to, of course, immediately go to the chat. You guys power the show. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you to all of my mods in the show that keep it clean. Sorry for the a-hole that I had to address. Normally, I let things like that go, but when you attack me personally, I'm sorry, man. I work real hard, and I gotta say something. And I don't name shame, and I'm not anybody to pile on the pony here, but you can't throw around insults and expect Boom just to be kind of take it with lying down. I'm a gentleman, but don't question my integrity when it comes to these shows. I bust my ass, and I think everybody knows that. But once again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much for the very outstanding generosity with the super chats. Dreadpool, I cannot thank you enough for being here and bailing out the show. And we will see you again next week at the same time, same day, for the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your Thursday.